There were several people that were missing in class today, so I thought I would put together a little screencast just for you to fill you in on what I talk to people about in terms of the id, the ego, and the superego. And I like to use the cat in the hat to talk about the dynamics of the ego, superego, and id, because it works pretty well. And I think, in a way, it was meant to be that. Okay. Anyway, let's start with the cat in the hat. Everyone's read the Cat in the Hat. Some people don't remember the plot all that well, so we'll kind of go back through that plot a little bit and talk about it as symbolic for Freud's idiom here. So the cat in the hat, I say, is a trickster. And the reason I say that is because he teaches them through his foolishness. Tricksters often teach us through their own foolishness or for playing a trick on someone else, but they're always tricks to kind of learn. And that's more Jungian than Freudian when we talk about archetypes. It's an archetype of the fool. Anyway, the boy and the girl are left alone in the house. The mother is gone. Well, that's a problem because the mother is the one that maintains order for them. They don't have to worry about it. She's always there to tell them right from wrong. And when the mother leaves, suddenly the kids have to kind of own their own choices in life. And so in order to make the choice, they have to have this kind of moral formation going on. And so children are growing up, you get about 2 years old, and, you're just all impulses. You're all urges, and your natural state of being is to follow those urges, to grab what you like. It looks good. It looks good to eat. I'm going to eat it. It looks like, I can touch it. I'll touch it. And then that's when we learn the word no. No. Or don't touch that. No. Okay, so we're learning restrictions, and then, someone begins teaching us why it's wrong, and we don't really care whether it's right or wrong, but we learn that, no, I do this, I get in trouble. And so the parent begins telling us right and wrong, and that begins the formation of what's called the superego. And in time, that superego becomes internalized. We begin to hear that voice in our head anyway, so it just becomes natural to hear, I can't do this, I can't do that, and it becomes something that we kind of own, but it's not really because we have a sense of morality or ethics inside. It's mostly imposed upon us by either society or by our parents. So that's the superego. The thing that's impulsive in us is the id. It just, it wants what it wants, and it will go after what it wants. Well, the id, the ego, and the superego. The ego, then, is the thing that chooses between the two. The I, the self, that says, okay, today we're going to listen to this guy, this superego, because it keeps me out of trouble. Today I need to live a little bit. I'm going to listen to my id and give into that a little bit. And that's how we live our lives. Well, going on with the cat in the hat. The cat in the hat comes in, and he begins to show them a trick, because he's a trickster. And he begins to pick up things and begin tossing it. And he tosses another one. He starts juggling, balancing and juggling and trying to keep all these things together. And what he's doing is he's kind of parroting the kids because they have to keep their act together. They have to try and figure out what is the balance. And he's telling them, it's fun to have fun, but you have to know how. You have to know how. You can have fun, but if you don't know how, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And everything falls. Everything falls apart. They can't keep the balance at this point. And then you got the fish over here saying, oh, make that cat go away. Tell that cat in the hat you don't want to play. And what would your mother say? And all that kind of thing. So, of course, the fish then represents the superego. Okay? Well, okay, so they're kind of scratching their heads, not sure what to do with all this. And the cat in the hat runs out. And he comes back in with this big box. And he opens the box. And these two things come out. And they're totally impulsive. They run all over the house. They're making a huge mess. And their names are Thing 1 and Thing 2. Well, a thing is neither male nor female. It is an id, an it. So in terms of our parable here, Thing 1 and Thing 2 represent the id. They're just these impulsive critters that go around getting into trouble. And the fish over here is saying, oh no, this is terrible. Well, look at the id. What's your mother going to... Oh my gosh, having a panic attack over what the Thing 1 and Thing 2 are doing. Well, Sally and I didn't know what to say. We didn't know what to do. We're just sitting there. We're watching this whole thing, right? And so they have to do something. And the boy realizes that after a while, right? And he says, okay, how do I stop this? Bingo, my net. I bet with my net I can get them, right? So a net is a formation of crisscrossing, right and wrong. And, so it's all kind of on this net in it, and it comes down over thing 1 and thing 2. He's contained the id forces with his net, with his own moral formation. It is his choice. The ego has said that is enough. That's enough. And so the cat's like, oh, okay. And he goes away, and it's like, they're looking around this big mess. And then the cat comes back in, and he says, I always take care of my playthings. I always pick up after myself. And he does. A little at a time, he picks it up. In other words, he's getting back into the balance. He's making things right. He's taking responsibility. And he's showing the children that's what you do. You take responsibility. You take responsibility for your moral choices. And so he picks it all up, and he goes out. And then the book ends with the boy pondering, well, should we tell Mom what happened today, or should we not? So he's left with a moral question, to be honest or not. And then he says, what would you do? What would you do if your mother asked you? So Dr. Seuss, teaching us, imparts that issue to us. What is our moral choice? Okay, relating this to the Lord of the Flies. Very similar beginning. You've got these boys who end up being left alone on this island. Okay, no adults around, just them. And the question is, what kind of choices are they going to make? And, so there's this whole play of the id, the ego, and the superego going on in The Lord of the Flies. And this is your assignment. I want you to think about the Lord of the Flies and think about the choices that they make. What is the id? What is the ego? What is the superego? And how does that play out in this story? So that's your assignment. I just want to type 2. Just talk to me about the Lord of the Flies. Talk to me about the role of the id, the ego, and the superego in this book.